Act 1. The shop window and the blue velvet box. The glass door of the jewelry store Willow and Fifth reflected a Seattle evening sky turning a thin indigo. Inside, the scent of oak, a hint of vanilla from candles, and the glimmer of old jazz hung like powder. Emma Walsh set her hand on the counter and stared at a blue velvet box lined with satin. Inside lay a pair of silver cufflinks engraved with L and a Luke and Anna with a slim groove circling like a tiny orbit. "We can engrave any initials," the clerk said, voice soft as silk. "Or a birthday, maybe." "Birthday?" said quietly. "June 19th? My boyfriend's?" Emma smiled, the smile both gentle and a touch shaky. Luke. She had thought about this gift for a month. Luke loved crisp white shirts, buttoning cufflinks in the morning and joking that small details hold a day together. Emma loved how he tilted his head while reading, how bullet points in his notebook lined up as if ruled with a straight edge. She felt as if she could arrange the future by choosing the right small thing. She paid, took the velvet box, and pushed through the door. On the sidewalk, the cold wind carried brine from Elliott Bay and a maple leaf snagged her hair. Her phone buzzed. Ava texted, "Free this evening. I have got something funny to tell you." Grinning emoji. Emma tapped back. "Tomorrow? Today I am heading to Luke's. I have a gift and want to practice the surprise." "Love you?" Ava replied. Ava Campbell had been her best friend since senior year of high school. They both went to U and had shared a small Capitol Hill apartment for 2 years. Ava was quick to laugh, always lighting candles so the living room felt like a showroom. Emma remembered a winter day when they first ducked into a cafe and Ava tugged her sleeve. "Listen, they have almond cake you love. Let us treat Seattle like a book. We will read every page." On this indigo evening, Emma hugged the box and headed down to the light rail. She felt light, as round and complete as the jingle of the shop door. She did not know that before night fell, the blue velvet box would tremble in her palm and L and it would glow like a cut. Act 2. The white tile kitchen and a mug of cocoa nobody touched. Their apartment sat on the 3rd floor, the wooden stairs tapping a short rhythm underfoot. Emma opened the door and called out, "I have..." No answer. In the kitchen, 2 mugs of hot cocoa sent up wisps of steam. One sat crooked, like someone had almost picked it up and stopped. Emma set the gift on the table and opened the lid. She smiled. She imagined Luke opening it, the lifted brows, the hug, and Ava bouncing in to demand a photo. She found it funny that she pictured Ava inside her own moment. But the truth was, Ava was always there. Her phone buzzed. "Luke, home. Can you swing by? Something small to discuss about Saturday." Saturday was the birthday party. Emma typed. She closed the velvet box and slipped it into her bag. Before leaving, she straightened the mugs into a neat line and smoothed the blue plaid table runner. That small act made her feel everything was in place. Then she left. Act 3? Lake Union and the reflected screen. Luke's apartment faced Lake Union, where sailboats looked like white paper scraps on dark water and floatplanes pricked the horizon like pins. Luke opened the door and hugged Emma, his kiss quick and warm. "Come in." The team murmured a sports channel. On the table, his laptop glowed, chat window peeking. Emma set her bag down, but before she could speak, Luke closed the lid. A reflex? "You look happy," Luke said, pulling her to the couch. "Planning a surprise for me? Maybe." Emma smiled, rubbing her hands together. "Saturdays? Okay." I messaged the group. Ava said she will help with the cake. Luke hesitated. "About Ava? Actually, I wanted to talk about her." Emma looked up. "What about her?" Luke braced his elbows on his knees, eyes fixed on a point in the rug. "Ava and I have been chatting a bit more lately. About work, about a project she is running. Do not want misunderstandings." "What misunderstanding?" Emma asked, heart dipping a little. Voice steady. Nothing. Really. I just like Ava. And I think you should know. Emma focused on the right cheek of Luke's face, where a speck of freckles showed only up close. She nodded. I know. Ava's easy to like. Those words would later harden into a pin. She stood and walked to the window, tried to smile out at the lake. In the glass, behind her shoulder, Luke's phone lit up. A small flash of the screen flickered. Then died? The name of a blinked in a notification. She thought she saw it. Or maybe memory added it later. She turned. Saturday. Luke smiled. I will be there. Act 4. The keyboard and a recording. That night, Emma went home. Ava was there, tied up, wearing a gray sweatshirt and leggings. Folding napkins. I am thinking red velvet cake. How's that sound? Ava asked. Eyes bright. Perfect. Emma said. You tired? I was at the studio all day teaching kids piano. One kept trying Claire de Lune, but her fingers are still weak, so we slowed the arpeggios. You know, sometimes I think music fixes everything. Ava winked. Even dating lives. Emma laughed. You have been saying that a lot. Because it is true. Ava leaned back on the counter. How's Luke? Same. Emma said. You text him a lot. Ava paused a beat. Not that much. About some architecture contacts he asked about. You know I have got friends in the field. Right? Emma said. That night, after Ava slept, Emma lay on her back and listened to cars through the window. In her mind she saw a dark blue plane and the word Ava like a mile marker. She sat up and checked her phone. In the Saturday 19th group chat, Ava had recently typed, We should play a Guess the Secret game. Everyone writes a harmless secret, tosses it in a jar, and we guess whose is whose. Emma set the phone down, walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, poured water. The smell of vanilla and cocoa lingered. Near the sugar jar sat a tiny voice recorder, the kind Ava used for lessons, to send parents practice clips. Its red light was blinking. Emma stared and tapped it off. Then, pushed by a silly urge, she pressed play. The first seconds were shuffling paper, hands on wood, and Ava laughing. Don't rush it. Then, like a drop, a whisper almost touching the mic. Tinier. Luke, I think of you every time I hid. Small and kinda cheesy. Huh? A soft giggle? Don't tell anyone. Especially Emma? Emma stopped the recording. She stood like a person with a loop around her neck that had not been pulled yet. The white tile kitchen tilted. She lifted the glass to her mouth, her hand shaking, spilling a few drops. When she set it down, it clicked against the counter. She did not cry. Strangely, she did not. She slid the recorder back where it had been, then returned to bed, pulled the blanket to her chin, and listened to her heart knocking at its own door. Act 5. The map of a lesson. Morning came with Seattle's kind of rain. Thin mist. Persistent as a thought. Emma made coffee. Ava shuffled out. Hair messy. Eyes still bright. Coffee. You are the best. Right? Emma handed her a mug. I need your help with a little game at the party tonight. Lit up. Yeah. The secrets game. There will be secrets. Emma smiled. But different. I want a wish jar. Everyone writes their most private wish for the next year. No names. At the host reads a few at random and toasts. It will make people laugh and also be honest. Ava clapped softly. Cute. Luke will love it. Yeah. Emma sipped bitter coffee, her tongue prickling. In her formed. Luke's kitchen. The big wooden table. The glass, the folded slips, Jamie's mini projector she could borrow. Ava's playlist. Arrows. Positions. Lines. Her voice? Too. She prepared it like a presentation. Except the goal was not make them love me more, but make them look straight. She knew a lesson that stays does not need a scream. It needs a mirror. Act 6. Saturday evening. Luke's apartment glowed warm gold. Black and white photos of Seattle lined the wall. Pike Place Market. The sign. A crane on the waterfront. The table wore a white cloth and hydrangeas in green blue. Ava a wine-colored midi dress. Curls bouncing. Eyes like champagne. Luke in a new white shirt. Sleeves bare at the wrist. Smiling wide. Guests arrived in bunches. Jamie with the mini projector. Nora with a long loaf. Michael with a bottle of red. Emma wore a black boat neck sweater. Gray trousers. Hair in a low. She looked at everyone and felt like she stood in a frame of a play she had written and would now perform. 6:30 they raised glasses. Happy birthday, Luke. Cheering. Clinks. Music. Emma smiled and handed Luke the blue velvet box. Real joy lit his face. Cufflinks. He opened it. When he saw that, Luke's heartbeat seemed to stutter. Everyone crowded in. So handsome. Ava chirped, then froze for a blink. Her lips pressed like she swallowed a word. It is Luke and Anna, Emma said clearly. Light but certain. My middle name. She smiled, and someone laughed. Oh, right, Anna Walsh. No one questioned it. Luke exhaled. Ava's smile returned, shy, and she lifted her glass. A lesson, Emma thought, does not arrive in one blow. It falls like Seattle rain. Act 7, The Wish. After the main course, Emma brought out the glass jar. Light pooled in the rim. A little game. Emma said, write your most private wish for the coming year. No names? I will pull 3 at random and toast to the writer. Fun. Jamie said. Pens scratched. Paper rustled like nylon. Ava touched Emma's forearm. What is your private wish? Emma smiled. A truth? Ava frowned. Then shrugged. She wrote, folded, dropped it in. Luke did the same. The slips. Emma shook the jar so they clinked like glasses. Okay. Emma said, I will. She pulled the first slip. Opened it. I want to learn to forgive myself for spending years pleasing other people. Nora raised a hand. Whoever wrote that, come get a hug. Laughter. Second slip. I want to play a piece in front of a crowd without shaking. Ava's head lifted, eyes sparkling like someone struck her favorite key. I toast. Emma said, raising her glass, that you find the right stage. Third slip. Emma held her breath and unfolded it slowly. I want to learn to leave at the right time. No one's... Jamie broke the quiet. Damn, that is deep. Emma placed the 3 slips on the table. Cheers. She knew the game was a wrapper. What she needed came next. When Jamie helped fire up the mini projector, I put together a little thing for Luke. Emma said, smiling, a short memory reel. Thanks, Jamie. Luke looked startled and touched. Ava clapped. They dimmed the lights. A white wall became a screen. It began with photos of Luke laughing with friends. Lake Union, the cufflinks in the velvet box. All slow, a simple piano line underscoring. Words appeared. Small details hold a day together. Luke's line. People ed. Emma stood by the projector, her palm damp on the table. The video rolled on. Trips through Seattle. Luke reading. Cooking. Them baking. People teased and laughed. Ava squeezed Emma's hand. Beautiful. The music shifted. The screen went black for a second. Then a photo appeared. The little voice recorder on the kitchen table. Its red light blinking. A band of sound waves slid across like a heartbeat. This part? Ava tilted her head. Emma lifted the remote and pressed play. A woman's voice floated through the room. Not loud, but close and clear, syrupy from the mixedness. Luke, I think of you every time I hid. The sentence dropped like a stone into a crystal glass. Silence pooled. Luke's head snapped up. Ava went still, her face paling like whipped cream. Hold on, Luke started, but Emma raised a calm hand. There is one more line. The audio resumed. Kinda cheesy. Huh? Don't tell anyone. Especially Emma? The room slight changed texture. The projector whirred. Emma looked at each face. Shock. Secondhand shame. Eyes darting away and back, searching for a surface. Luke glared at the projector. Ava. Ava's mouth opened and she inhaled like she was sinking. I am. Ava said, voice small and jagged. That was a stupid joke. You did not think I would hear it? Emma asked. Voice even? Or you thought I would never need to know that part of you? The room tightened like a velvet box snapping shut. Jamie stared down. Nora's hand covered her mouth. Michael half rose. Emma. Luke tried. There is nothing between me and Ava. I swear. He looked at Emma, his green eyes a tired forest. It was just texting. A few lines can be a bridge. Emma said. Or, no one's. Emma turned off the projector. Darkness popped. She flipped on the kitchen light, gold flowing back like a thin blanket. On the table, the wish jar glimmered. Act 8? The wire? Emma. Ava took a step and stopped. Tears bubbled but did not fall. I let myself blur the line. I kept telling myself it was harmless because we did not touch. Because we did not. But clearly it betrayed you in my mind. Emma looked into the eyes of the friend who had shared hundreds of bright mornings. She saw all the times Ava tugged her collar to admire a new button. The nights they watched when Harry met Sally for the third time and cackled. A row of white pebbles on a path. And sometime a black one had been placed without her noticing. Luke. Emma turned. You say nothing happened because you measure with skin. I measure with honesty. We are using different rulers. Luke opened his mouth, shut it, and set his hand on the velvet box like a life ring. No more defense. Emma inhaled. Tonight, on your birthday, I want to give you a wish. The one you dropped in the jar earlier. She reached in and pulled a slip. Everyone stared. Surprised? Emma unfolded and read slowly. I want to learn to leave at the right time. Luke stood stricken. Ava pressed a hand to her chest like her heart had tripped. That is not his handwriting. Jamie whispered. It does not matter whose. Emma said. What matters is meaning. Leaving at the right time can be the kindest gift we give each other. Ava burst into tears. Don't leave me. Emma. I will move out if I need to. I will cut ties with Luke. Emma lifted her hand. This lesson is not only for you. It is? I have spent years being the nice one by some template, smiling even when my gut screamed. I am done with that. She turned to Luke. I am not here to humiliate you. I am here to say I see. And because I see, I choose. Choose what? Luke's voice was rough. Choose to leave. Emma said, soft, to keep what is intact of my self-respect. Somewhere glass chimed faintly. Wind from the lake nudged the curtain. Act 9. After the lights. Guests drifted out, carrying the tender awkwardness of witnesses to a redrawn line. Jamie hugged Emma and whispered, I am here if you need me. Nora's hand squeezed her shoulder. Michael nodded. Respect? Ava cleaned dishes in silence. I have got it. Emma said. You head home? Home is where you are. Ava answered. eyes swollen. I will stay with my parents in Queen Anne for a while. She paused and swallowed. You? And I did not love you the right way. Emma did not answer. Ava lifted her bag and left. Before the door shut, she said, "Thanks for not making me more ashamed than necessary." The door clicked. Only Emma and Luke remained in the gold kitchen. Luke leaned on the counter, hands in pockets. "I think you did the bravest thing I have ever seen." He murmured. "Not brave?" Emma said. "Just right. We could." Emma shook her head. "At least not now. Some cracks take glue. Others need new glass." Luke nodded. He opened his mouth as if to say something, and not. Emma took her bag, opened the door, and stepped into the hallway. Act 10. Days like rain. The days after, Seattle kept raining in its way, persistent as a tune. Emma moved out of Luke's. After a long talk over coffee on Picapine, Ava moved to her parents' place for a while. Their Capitol Hill apartment grew quiet as a forgotten velvet box. Emma rearranged. She took down a photo of two laughing girls in autumn light and packed it away. She changed sheets, sorted books by color, paused at an empty spot where the recorder had sat. She bought a white orchid and set it there. In the mornings she went to her job at a small press in Pioneer Square. Her coworkers, with West Coast tact, did not. They brought coffee, asked her to skim manuscripts, sent puppy pics. At lunch she walked the brick streets, saw damp red walls, heard a ship horn far away. At night she lifted the secondhand digital piano Ava had found on Craigslist. Her fingertips pressed G, then E, then D, a small chick. She thought of that sentence, the one that clawed her chest like a cat. She wrote a short piece. She titled it Leave at the Right Time. Act 11. An apology in a small stage. A week. Emma found an email from Ava. Subject: If you will let me, I want to apologize. On stage. Ava wrote, Capitol Hill Community Center has an open mic Friday. I want to sign up and play Claire de Lune, You Remember My Student. Before I want to say a few words. Not to win you back, but to pay a debt of truth. Only if you agree. If you do not come, I want you to do it. Emma read it 3 times. She replied briefly, Do it. I will be there. Friday night. The room filled with neighbors. Cardigans. Beanies. A girl hugging a violin. Ava walked out in a simple black dress. Hair tie. She held the mic, voice shaky but clear. I have studied piano 20 years and still have not learned when to stop. Some notes demand silence. Silence keeps a piece from collapsing. I want to apologize to Emma. My friend? Because I forgot to learn to be quiet. The room stilled. Ava set the mic down and began. Claire de Lune flowed like distilled water. Emma felt tears come, not for Ava or Luke, but for something large and thin as mist. She was forgiving herself for not seeing sooner, for staying a touch too long, for loving with too many thick notes and too few rests. When Ava finished, applause reigned. Ava stood and bowed and looked at Emma. Emma nodded. No hug, no dash across the room. No theatrics. Just Act 12? Late meetings. Luke texted now and then. Polite. Not pleading. You doing okay? I have been thinking about what you said. I deleted the chats. Emma sometimes replied. Sometimes did not. One afternoon they met by the lake. The sky was a thin blue and sailboats were chalk marks. I am moving to another apartment. Luke said, I want to start somewhere without the old me. Do what feels right. Emma said, Happy late birthday. And, thanks for not fighting me when I needed to speak. Luke smiled sadly. I have learned that sometimes the only way to keep a beautiful piece is to not keep all of it. They were quiet. 2 gulls crossed, their shadows skimming the water like toy boats. When they stood, Emma offered her hand. Luke shook it. 2 adults after a storm. Act 13. The lesson turns into habit. Summer warmed. Carrying tar scent, Emma joined a Tuesday night songwriting class. She wrote small pieces full of rests. Ava sent recordings of new students. They did not move back together, but they got coffee monthly. Their friendship did not die. It found another road. Fewer flowers. More stones. Honest. One afternoon, Nora texted, "A senior editor role just opened at my friend's press. You should apply." Emma stared at the screen in a cafe and remembered leave at the right time. She had left a relationship before her self-respect ran dry. Could she leave a job for a new one? She smiled. The lesson became a habit. Ask. Look straight. Choose. She applied. A month later, she got it. Act 14. Another birthday. June 19th the next year was strangely clear. Emma rose early, walked to the lake, and bought a small almond cake. She texted, "Open mic tonight. Don't forget." "My student's playing this time." Emma smiled and touched her shirt pocket, a single silver cufflink she kept like a charm. She kept it to remind herself that engravings change meaning with the eyes that read them. That night, in the community room, a black-haired girl stood trembling at the keyboard. Finger. She looked to the back where two women sat together. Emma nodded. Ava smiled. The girl breathed and began. Music moved. Emma closed her eyes. Behind her lids, she saw the velvet box. The whispering voice. She saw the projector. The white wall. The wish. Jamie S. Squeeze. Norris nod. Michael's quiet. All of it blending into gratitude. Not for betrayal, but for the chance to hold up a mirror and dare to look. When ended, applause rolled like a shower. Act 15. Talk on the roof. Late summer. Emma and Ava sat again on the roof of the old building. The landlord let them up with two folding chairs among mint pots. Rachel from the second floor brought mojitos. For memories, she winked and vanished. The sky deepened and stars sparked. "Do you hate me?" Ava asked without looking over. "I did," Emma said honestly. For a short while, the hate was a smooth stone. Then it dissolved. Because I missed you. And I miss myself laughing with you. I would not trade that. Ava swallowed. I'm still in therapy. She says I am addicted to attention because I do not believe I am enough. I am trying to believe. You are enough? Emma said. Not as comfort but as fact. But knowing you are enough does not mean you will never want extra. The point is to not take the extra from someone else's share. Ava laughed. This time real. You talk in aphorisms now. Ired. Emma squinted. When you are tired, you get concise. They sat, listening to cars on the street. Somewhere a cat cried. I got you something, Ava said, digging in her bag. She handed over a small wooden box engraved Emma a Walsh. Inside lay a gray fountain pen with a fine inscription, Rest her sentences too. Emma smiled. Beautiful. She pulled out a postcard and wrote on the back, Leave at the right time. Then she flipped it and added, And stay in the right place. Ava looked and nodded. Act 16. In and the lesson is not punishment. Some people, when betrayed, lash back like a whip. Emma once imagined she would smash glasses, cut off, scream. But that night, in Seattle's steady rain, she chose a lesson shaped like a mirror. She did not strike back. She showed, and she looked. Luke sometimes sent Christmas cards afterward. Short wishes, a line about a book. I kept teaching, including the rests. Emma edited books and played her little pieces at open mics. Notes like raindrops. Once, in a belta, a singer crooned, We are just stories we tell ourselves to sleep at night. Emma smiled. Maybe. But sometimes we are also the stories we dare to tell at noon, in front of friends and former lovers. So we do not have to lie to the mirror. And the blue velvet box. It sat in Emma's desk drawer among old receipts and frayed ribbon. Sometimes she opened it. Law no longer burned like a cut. It became a thin light, a reminder that love is a verb with borders. The cufflinks never touched Luca's sleeves. She did not sell them. She kept them like a meteor shard that once streaked through her life. Heavy enough to remember, small enough to carry. Act 17. A new In the new year, Emma set a glass jar on her kitchen table in the apartment now painted soft gray. On the label she wrote, "Honest wishes." She invited friends on Friday night. Nora, Jamie, Rachel, a new coworker named Ben. Ava had class and texted, "Send me a pic of the jar." They wrote, folded, and dropped them in. Emma shook and drew 3 slips. Her own ritual. First slip. I want to learn to ask are you okay and handle when the answer is no. Second slip. I want to forgive the person who hurt me because I want to let the scar become a home. Third slip. I want to stay in the right place. Emma lifted her glass. To each of us when we have to leave, may it be the right time. And when we stay, may it be the right place. They clinked. Soft laughter like crystal touching. Outside. Rain began, steady and gentle, like an old friend knocking. Not pushy, not loud. Emma turned to Jamie. You still have the projector? Yeah. Jamie grinned. What do you want to show? Nothing. Emma said. Just, if anyone forgets how to look, we will turn on the light and look together. In the end, a lesson is not punishment. It is like